What's a secret you'll never tell your partner, but are willing to tell strangers on Reddit? I faked the first 6 orgasms with her. I just wasn't going to finish due to anxiety, but I knew she'd be so self-conscious to the point of dumping me if I didn't. So I pulled out and pretended to do it in a towel or sock. Eventually I got there with her after the nerves calmed, but I'm taking that secret to the grave. Story 2. I got our toddler out of bed one morning and went to do a sniff test of their butt to see if they had pooped overnight, and when I lifted the child up, I stuck their head into the ceiling fan. Story 3. My husband loves talkative cats. When we first got our kittens, I gave them a treat every time they made a meow or chirped. Since I was working from home, they ended up becoming very vocal. He still goes on about how lucky we are to have such talkative cats. Story 4. When I was 14, my grandma passed away. For years, I had been bothering my parents for my own gold necklace. Well, my gram had a little bit of money, and she gave me the $300 for a gold necklace in her will. It was my pride and joy. I had it around my neck for 17 years before I met my wife. It was off my neck maybe 3 times in those 17 years. My wife, then girlfriend, knew how much it meant to me and asked to wear it once. Well, it never came home. She had lost it somewhere or it had gotten stolen. I was distraught like crazy for 3 or 4 days while we turned our house upside down looking for it. Inevitably, I gave up, but she was very bothered by it all. I decided to go to a pawn shop and buy the closest I could get to an exact duplicate, and then I told her that I had found the necklace in the couch cushions. To this day, she thinks that I found my necklace from my grandmother, but this is actually version 2, story 5. My wife pooped while delivering our son. It was something she was terrified she would do. The nurse cleaned it up very quickly and gave me a look that needed no explanation. I never said a word. She talked after delivery about how happy she was that it was something that didn't happen to her. I'll let her keep that peace of mind for life. Story 6. Our cat didn't break the towel rack. I did. I was pretending to be fighting zombies and grabbed it and ripped the whole thing off of the wall. I heard her coming to check out the noise and looked down at my cat. She came into the bathroom to me asking my cat, "Why did you think the towel rack could hold your weight, you silly cat?" Story 7. Sometimes I just sit in my car outside of work or our apartment for 20 to 30 minutes because I need some time alone. I have my mind full to the brim at work and rarely get time in the house alone. Sometimes I just need it to be quiet and not have to pay attention to anything. Everybody needs some personal time to just decompress without anybody else around. It's perfectly healthy to do your own thing every now and then while still having a loving relationship. Story 8. One time we had half of a container of ice cream left. I had a craving, so I ate a bowl, then another. Then I decided to finish the tub to destroy the evidence. Then I realized she would notice that there was no ice cream left, so I went to the store, bought another tub, and then ate that one down to the same level. This was a gallon-sized tub of ice cream. Story 9. I never paid for her engagement ring. I went to a custom jeweler to have her ring made. It's a beautiful piece, and she loves it dearly. It certainly wasn't cheap as it appraised and was insured for around $10,000. The jeweler was dealing with a lot of family issues at the time and was incredibly disorganized. I went to pick up the ring and brought my checkbook to pay for it, and when she handed me the ring, I took it out and asked her who to make the check out to. She said, "Oh no, don't worry about it right now. Just send me a check in the mail." I thought that was strange, but sure, okay. She then hurried off to help another customer, and I left, but she never told me what the final price was. For the next 6 months, I texted and called the jeweler asking, "Hey, just tell me what amount to put and I'll mail you the check." And there was always a reason she couldn't tell me. "Sorry, I'm out right now. I'll find it and text you later." Her shop was a few hours away from where I live, so it wasn't feasible to stop by and handle it in person. I tried for 6 months, but after that I stopped calling and texting and just figured I got the ring for free. I won't tell my spouse because I don't want her to think I took advantage of the situation, or that somehow the ring isn't as meaningful because I didn't pay for it. Story 10. That he legit saved my life. He's a nervous and humble guy who doesn't like undue pressure or praise, so I keep it to myself just how bad off I was before he showed up. Because even in the aftermath of my mom's death, and even in the face of some pretty nasty health problems that I was just letting slide because I was so depressed, I was very good at smiling and being charming. 3 years of taking care of a terminally ill parent taught me how to smile and bear it, and fake positivity even when I was running on empty. I never felt like I could be anything other than the fixer, or the person that always said the right thing. I was not allowed to be negative, ever. But he legit came in and helped me with Mom's estate and cheerleaded me into getting out of a dead-end career and put a stake in the heart of some severely toxic relationships I had, and even helped me budget so I could finally afford health insurance, which wasn't a moment too soon, because my issues were caught right in the nick of time. He just kind of did it. In his mind, it was nothing much because you were on the right track, but you had a lot on your plate and needed help. I would just nod and agree because what else do I say? I actually wasn't. I was just going to let myself die because I was exhausted and miserable. Smiles aside, thanks for intervening. Story 11. My girlfriend of 5 years has been deaf since she was 6. She reads lips pretty well, but prefers sign language. I didn't know a single sign when I met her, but I could tell right away there was something between us, so I started learning after I got home from our first date. Fast forward a few years, I'm now fluent in American Sign Language, and we use it to talk almost exclusively. When she's not looking, though, I talk to her even though she can't hear me or see my lips to read. I tell her how much I love her, how I'm going to marry her someday, how beautiful she is, etc. I've even been practicing proposing, so it's not so terrifying when I actually do it. She has no idea, and I plan to keep it that way. Story 12. When he was away for work for 4 months, I was working full-time and single parenting and depressed. One morning, I hurried our 3 kids out to the car before daycare with my hands full of stuff. I put everything in the car, put it in gear, and looked over my shoulder to back up. I backed up about 2 feet and hit the brakes. I didn't put our kid in the car. I was looking at an empty car seat. My toddler was standing beside his door on the passenger side waiting for me, and now he was crying because he thought I was ditching him. If I hadn't looked over my shoulder, I could have run over our kid. Blame sleep deprivation and all the other stuff going on. But mom guilt still eats me alive when I think about those 2 feet. My husband will never know because I don't ever want him to think I'm a bad mom, or know exactly how bad it was for me while he was away. I can imagine the guilt OP had from this experience. I don't have kids, but I do know how much sleep deprivation, stress, and depression can affect one's ability to function correctly. Hopefully things are doing better for OP now. Story 13. That our youngest son's first word wasn't mama. She was having a busy time at work and already felt guilty about not being home as much. Naturally, he spent most of his time with me, so his first word was papa. I kept my mouth shut and waited until he said mama, and celebrated that as his first word. Story 14. That I have been seriously considering divorce for about 18 months now. She never smiles, never says anything nice, and is always complaining about everything. The only reason that I don't leave is my 2 children. I'm almost 100% certain that she would escalate from just her verbal abuse to physical abuse towards them. She had her uterus and ovaries removed 9 years ago and has completely lost interest in any form of affection. I mean hugs and kisses, holding hands, wanting to be close. She thinks that buying me things would replace the lack of contact. Her close-mindedness has caused our daughter to stop talking to her about anything at all. She now confides in me about everything, and is worried about what her mother would do if it was found out that she is more interested in girls than boys. I work 90 minutes away from our home, and I had a small apartment close to my work, so I wouldn't have to make the 3-hour round trip every day. I was forced to give up the apartment because we couldn't afford 2 households, but she keeps buying crap we don't need. She never cleans the house at all, always stating that no one else cleans up after themselves, so she's not going to anymore either. She uses her depression as an excuse for everything, to get out of doing anything she doesn't like to do. If I thought I could get custody of the kids, I think I would leave in a heartbeat.